Buckle up, guys. Today we're watching Judge Clark set the tone instantly. The defendant arrives armed with filings that make no legal sense, and the judge wastes no time shutting it all down. Calm but firm, Clark reminds him that probation means following rules, not creating them. It's a subtle moment where courtroom authority meets sovereign stubbornness, and only one side is winning.
Deny the rest of it?
Really?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely.
I got some education to go, huh?
Sir?
So I've got some education to go.
Yes, sir. You're here today by, you got a new law violation of driving my license, suspender, and vote. You don't want to have an attorney appointed to represent you?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
But that's the thing is, I've never even been pulled over. I don't know how I got a license or a warrant or anything. I haven't been pulled over in more than a year. Any emergency contact. I went to go pick up a records request and they gave me a warrant instead of the records.
Do y'all know anything about this?
As to the new law.
Do you have a driver's license?
No, sir.
Don't answer that. I shouldn't ask that question.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Strike that from the record. All right. Was he arrested? Is there a new arrest for driving license, suspender, and vote? State?
Yes, there was a bench warrant issued on 1/23/24 that was executed 1/29/24.
Said I was just doing a records request and had an agreed upon date to pick it up. Went up there to pick it up and gave me a warrant. So the records are requested.
I tell you what, I'm gonna let y'all
Return
do
that?
Listen, I'm gonna leave him on probation. I'm gonna set this for preliminary on April. What's that April date?
April 17th.
April 17th. I'm gonna let him take care of that in county court, see what happens, okay?
Thank you.
And I think that's the only violation he had.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing what you're doing on this, and then we'll see you back in April, and you can take care of that in county court, okay?
Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sign a notice.
Here, the next defendant tries the classic sovereign introduction, calling himself a beneficiary human being. Judge Clark doesn't budge for a second. He cuts through the theatrics, forces proper identification, appoints counsel, and sets bond. It's a fast, decisive exchange showing how quickly fantasy collapses when legal reality enters the room.
I'm Cedric Alexander, the beneficiary, sir.
No, sir. I don't. The beneficiary doesn't mean anything to me. Says, are you Cedric Alexander?
I'm a human being, Cedric Alexander, not the corporation.
What I'm be held with that.
I'm a human being, not a fictitious entity.
On your first appearance, I'm going to appoint the office of public defender. You've got a failure to appear on
Not
a
your majesty, my public
misdemeanors.
defender.
I have ordered to be held without bond on that. I'm going to leave that as it is. You got a possession of methamphetamine and see, that might be all the same thing. Yeah. You just got a failure to appear.
The officer didn't even come and do
You'll be
depositions
held
because it's a
without
lie.
bond on that. You've got to drive my license, suspender, and vote. I'm gonna find there's probable cause. I'm gonna set. That's a third degree felony, plus 5 years Florida Department of Corrections. And a
Petition's empty, you cannot drive,
$5,000.
sir.
I am going to set a $5,000 bond. I'll see you March 11th at 9 o'clock. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
All right, go ahead and step out for me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. You can call your first witness.
All right, state calls officer Zip. Richard Zip.
All right. Just swear the witness in.
I do.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Richard Ziff,
Were you employed?
Panel City Police Department.
Were you working in November of 2023?
I was.
On November 11th, 2023, did you have occasion to come in contact with defendant Josiah Beecher?
I was.
How did you come in contact with him?
It was an investigated stop. Mr. Beecham's vehicle was having a hard time maintaining its lane. I conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle. Vehicle drove over the curb. Immediately when I stopped the vehicle, I can smell marijuana coming from within the vehicle while still sitting inside my own vehicle. As I got closer to the vehicle, I can smell the marijuana getting stronger. When I made contact with Mr. Beecham in the driver's seat, I informed him the nature of the stop, also told him I smelled marijuana in the vehicle. At that point, Mr. Beecham was saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida, making other statements that he was not driving, he was traveling.
The preliminary hearing opens with the defendant choosing to represent himself, and the officer lays out clean, factual testimony. Lane drifting, odor of marijuana, and bizarre claims about treaties and traveling start shaping the story. It's a moment where you see how easily a simple traffic stop turns into chaos when a defendant insists on arguing ideology instead of law.
Did I have a passenger in the car with me at the time?
You did.
Upon you saying you smelled the smell of marijuana, did I say that I smoked hemp?
You did admit to it.
I said I smoked hemp, right?
You said you smoked marijuana.
Sir, did you have on a body cam?
I did.
And okay, thank you, Your Honor. So I said, so your body cam was on at the time, and did you get any competent basis on the traffic stop as far as like a recording of that video?
I don't have a dash cam.
You don't have a dash cam in your car?
We don't have dash cams in Panama State Police
Okay.
cars.
That's cool. And that was failing to maintain the lane. Okay, was it any other traffic on the road?
You were the only vehicle.
Okay, and how long were you behind me before you actually pulled me over?
I was behind you about 2 blocks, watched you drift over the center line several times.
Several times, drift off the line. Did you have to catch up to me? You know, I have a dash cam and rear view cam. I'm probably gonna introduce the what you call it. Did you actually have to catch up to my vehicle, or?
I did not have to catch up that much. I was right behind you.
I'm saying that the stretch of the road was we was traveling on Beach Drive. That's right.
Yes.
And you were behind me the entire stretch of Beach Drive.
No, I was behind you by Balboa.
By Balboa is when you got behind me. Okay, and so when did you notify me or the passenger about any of the drugs or gun?
Immediately.
Immediately. And what was said about the drugs or gun? What did the passenger say?
The gun was found after you were already detained. We searched the vehicle and it was underneath your seat.
Okay, and was the vehicle registered to me?
The vehicle was registered to your girlfriend.
Okay.
The defendant tries poking holes in the stop, asking about hemp, body cams, dash cams, and road conditions. But every question he fires gets met with a steady, confident answer. Instead of exposing flaws, he exposes strategy gaps. Watching this exchange, you can see how self-representation quickly becomes self-inflicted damage in real time.
Your seat.
And you found the drugs?
I found a bag of white substance in your right front pocket.
What about any vehicles in the car?
There was a bag in behind the driver's seat that had several other bags that were wrapped in a clear plastic baggies that was behind your seat.
Okay, and so what did you question the passenger on?
That would be my partners who questioned the passenger. I questioned you.
Yes, and what did I admit to any of the drugs?
You refused to talk to me other than saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida.
Exactly. And so you notified me on drugs being found in the car on the scene, you're saying?
Everything was notified to you. I tried reading you implied consent. You refused to actually listen to me. You kept on saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida and you.
Yeah, I was saying you was violating the constitutional rights as well of unreasonable search and seizure. You never had a conversation with the passenger.
I was mostly talking to you and searching the vehicle. I believe my sergeants wanted to talk to Mr. Wheeler.
Okay, and so you're saying your passengers, your other one of your partners found the drugs that was actually in the car?
And I found drugs in the vehicle.
Oh, you found the drugs in the vehicle?
Yes.
Behind the driver's seat, you're saying?
And the objection. Ask your next question.
Okay. And you did already admit that I said I admitted to smoking hemp. Okay. And your vehicle is not, you say they don't got dash cams. Okay. So at the time, did you have a sight on the passenger and the driver at the whole time?
I was right there behind the A pillar or B pillar.
What was that, sir?
I was there the entire time talking to you.
No, okay, so when you extracted me out the car, did you have eyes on the passenger at that time?
After I removed you from the car, I did not have eyes on the passenger, just you.
Okay, cool. And so,
As questioning continues, the defendant demands clarity on where drugs and the gun were found, hoping for an opening. But the officer's responses are precise. Drugs in his pocket, drugs behind his seat. No admissions except repeated treaty claims. Each answer tightens the case against him, showing how facts outlast
Had drugs
theories
in
in
your right
court.
front pocket.
I said, was it possible to be the passengers?
It could be possible, but the same drug that was in your right front pocket was also in that bag behind your seat.
What drug was in my right front pocket?
Cocaine.
And about how much was that?
You had a bag that was wrapped in your front pocket.
About how much?
I don't have the numbers on me right now. I have my report in front of me.
Okay. This is a copy of your report.
That's actually not my report. That's the affidavit complaint. My report's about 5 pages long.
Okay. And so you seized the vehicle for failing to maintain a lane. You said, was any other traffic affected by the occurrence?
You were the only one on the road. You had a failure to maintain your lane several times and you drove over the curb.
What curve, actually?
The curb I stopped you at, I believe, was on Fairland.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I don't have any more questions.
Okay, is any redirect from the state?
No, Your Honor.
And the witness be
Yes,
excused.
Your Honor.
So you can go about your day.
Either.
Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Beecham?
Your Honor, there's no actual competent and substantial evidence in the affidavit of complaint, nor was it any ticket issued for the actual, failing to maintain a lane, so, I mean, being that it was immediately after the arrest, I don't see how he had probable cause to stop me. And I actually asked him for, the sheriff to verify that, hoping that he had a dash cam in his car.
Mr. Sullivan?
Whether a traffic ticket was issued or not is irrelevant.
Yeah, it was.
I have them find there's probable cause for the arrest, and I believe that's what I'm here today to do as far as the adversarial preliminary hearing. So I found there's probable cause. We'll need another court hearing.
Do we have this transcribed?
Here, the defendant shifts to paperwork angles, challenging why traffic details weren't in the complaint. The officer explains the difference between tickets, affidavits, and reports, leaving no room for misinterpretation. What he hoped would be a technical trap becomes another reminder that courtroom procedures aren't built on guesswork.
Attorney Mr. Pereira and Mr. Sullivan are also present. Deputy Dexter, we have all the jurors present?
They are present. They are. We had two that were in the restroom, and they'll be brought upstairs.
All right, very good. All right, anything we need to take up prior to bringing the jurors in?
Yes, Your Honor. After meeting with Mr. Baker yesterday, he expressed an interest in representing himself today again. So I don't know if he wants to. I'm not sure whether he wants to represent himself or not, because the state is, the second thing I would address is the state has filed a motion in limine that we object to. Depending on the ruling there, I'm not sure if that will affect Mr. Baker's decision.
All right, well, let's take up the motion in limine right now. It's the motion in limine. Mr. Pereira, you filed it?
Yes, Your Honor. If, the state is moving, Your Honor, to exclude testimony of two things. First is testimony for the legality of his license plate, or any sort. My understanding is that Mr. Meredith intended to elicit testimony about the origin of the license plate. We feel that probable cause is enough already with the rolling stop, that it would be irrelevant. The defendant is no longer in charge of any type of traffic offense. They're not legal defenses to the charge that he's brought with fleeing to eluding in the possession of drugs.
Your Honor, the state intends to introduce some body cam from Officer Elkins. as in relation to the original stop. And Mr. Baker has his hands out of the window and is talking to the officer about what the reason for the stop is. There is a tag that's on there. In the edited version of the body cam, it is mentioned that the two reasons for the stop were rolling through a stop sign and either, I can't remember if it was bad tag or no tag or whatever. But I think that it's important for the jury to understand that the origin of this tag and what it represented. I, as an officer of the court and under the rules of the bar, I don't believe I could argue that it is a valid tag, but I think the origin of it is important for the.
What, it's not a valid tag. What does it matter what origin or the origin of this?
Well,
I'm not going down that road, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Baker felt that it was.
This section delivers the breaking point. The defendant suggests the drugs could belong to the passenger, but the officer clarifies the identical substances found directly on him. Judge Clark then steps in, finds probable cause, and schedules the next hearing. It's the moment where the defendant's entire argument collapses under the weight of basic evidence.
Right.
You know, there's a second paragraph on there. The state is looking to exclude any testimony in terms of defenses related to the defendant's status as a sovereign and or a private citizen. I like to point the court to controlling authority in Barber versus Bay County Sheriff's Office jail facility. For the record, the site of that is 308 3rd Southern. It starts on page 254. I like to quote from this case, Your Honor, that says the sovereign citizen theory has no basis in the law, and parties that make it are in danger of court sanctions. And to our knowledge, no court in this country has ever found sovereign citizens to have any merit. They're relying on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals decision in the United States versus Beneby. For the record, that's 654, 3rd Federal 753, where it talks about where it's just not specifically about sovereign citizens, but encapsulates all of the arguments there. So regardless of an individual's claimed status of descent, be it as a sovereign citizen, a secured party creditor, or a flesh and blood human being, that person is not beyond the jurisdiction, and the court is correct in rejecting all of those claims. However, they are presented and they should be rejected summarily.
Mr. Barrett, your response? We're not raising it as a defense, but I believe that Mr. Baker testifies for the jury to understand what was in his mind on October 7th of this past year. They need to understand his ideology, his understanding of what he was required to do and how he could live his life. It's not, again, I cannot raise it to a defense, but I think we need to talk about what he felt in his mind.
If it's not a defense, why is it relevant?
For the jury to understand what was going on in his mind during the stop and
well, proper what you think the testimony might be.
The tag argument hits the courtroom, and the defense tries hard to justify a homemade plate. Judge Clark ends it immediately. If it's not issued by the state, it's not legal, end of discussion. The defendant pushes, but the judge's refusal is absolute. This is where sovereign logic meets a brick wall of statutory authority.
It goes back partially to the tag, but he had thought he had registered the tag properly through the United States Department of Transportation.
Mr. Baker, that's enough.
He had a license that wasn't from the state of Florida. It was international license, but his license was suspended in the state of Florida. But when he was stopped, again, he was trying to ask the officer what was the purpose for the stop. The officer, immediately upon exiting his vehicle, prior to any fleeing, unholstered his service weapon, pointed it at the defendant, and began yelling at him to turn the car off, turn the car off. And after 30 to 40 seconds, fearing for his life, Mr. Baker left.
What does that have to do with being a private citizen or a sovereign citizen or anything like that?
In his mind, the basis of the state is now going forward on is a road through a stop sign, which we dispute. But he does not think that he did not stop, and he was trying to ask the reason for the stop, and he didn't get any answer. He just got a gun being pointed at him with an aggressive officer.
I mean, I understand all that, and I think all that may be relevant to that. I mean, but what about a private citizen or a sovereign citizen? What does that have any relevance?
Now the judge draws clear lines. Sovereign citizen ideology is barred entirely. The prosecutor cites case law, the judge affirms it, and the court allows only testimony related to fear, not pseudo-legal identity claims. This is a strong demonstration of how courts protect trials from being derailed by fringe beliefs.
Or in the trailer park.
No.
And approximately where were you when you noticed the officer behind you?
When I turned on Everett Avenue, I noticed it was an officer because how close he had got up behind us right before he turned his lights on, and I made a left.
Okay. And that's the left onto the 6th?
6th Street, whichever one of those. I can't remember which street it was exactly, but I know I made a left.
Now, you didn't stop there on 6th?
No.
And why was that?
Now, I kept going because I was trying to get somewhere safe, actually. But I wanted to get where there was a lot of traffic at. So that's why I really went to East Avenue, so I can get on the main highway somewhere where traffic is going by and people can see. So I wanted to get somewhere safe where I can before I stop.
The defendant begins crafting his narrative, describing his night, the stop sign, and noticing the officer behind him. His attorney sets up the story he plans to lean on later, a claim of compliance mixed with confusion. But even here, tiny contradictions start forming, hinting at how fragile his explanation will become once challenged.
Sign there.
Yeah.
Did you stop at that stop sign?
Yes, just like we seen on the video. You can clearly see my brake lights at every stop sign.
Then there's a stop sign on 6th and East. Did you stop there?
Yes, sir.
You did pull over on East Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Now, was there any traffic there?
No, sir, none at all.
Were there any street lights on 6th or East until you pulled over?
There were a couple, but it wasn't nothing like. I just didn't feel comfortable pulling over in a residential neighborhood in front of people's houses. So I really was trying to get on East Avenue where traffic was, hoping someone else was going to come.
And how fast were you going during this period?
10, 15 miles an hour.
And where you pulled over, it didn't look like there was much traffic there either.
No.
This is the emotional centerpiece. The defendant says he expected a normal stop, saw the officer's weapon, and panicked. He insists his flight was fear, not escape. But his own words reveal something deeper, a pattern of rationalizing choices that placed everyone at risk. It's a moment filled with tension, sincerity, and self-defense all at once.
I flew into a lube. I didn't want any of that to happen, so I just really pulled on over to get the situation over with. when I seen that no other cars and stuff were coming, I just pulled over.
When you pulled over, tell us what happened.
When I pulled over, I seen the officer jump out with his gun. Well, first I had rolled my window down. I rolled my window down. I had my license, registration, everything ready to present to the officer because that's what I'm thinking. That's what type of stop it's gonna be. But when I see he had his gun drawn, telling me to get out of the car, I done been pulled over several times before by the police. I've never been demanded to get out of my vehicle, to turn my vehicle off. The officer just pulled over. He tell me why he pulled me over, and he asked me for my license and registration. So being that this guy had his gun and demanding that I turn my car off and all of this, I'm like, dang, what's going on? Why, how? And that's why I asked him what crime had been committed. By me knowing a little bit about the law, I know some type of crime has to be committed, or I have to have some type of warrant. Somebody's life got to be in danger for him to pull his gun. So that's why I asked him.
Verdict: we, the jury, find as follows. Count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of possession of cocaine. Count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of possession of methamphetamine. Count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of fleeing to elude a law enforcement officer, high speed, reckless. Count 4, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of possession of marijuana less than 20 grams.
Beautiful. I just ask, Your Honor, that you don't sentence me to those 10 years, Your Honor. I mean, honestly, I know it seemed like I did something. In my mind, I really don't feel like I did anything wrong. I do apologize for putting other people's lives at danger because it could have happened worse than what it was. And I'm glad I didn't hurt anybody.
The verdict lands hard, guilty across all counts. When offered a chance to speak, the defendant claims he did nothing wrong but apologizes for the danger he caused. It's a conflicted, unsteady attempt at remorse. As sentencing approaches, it becomes clear that accountability means more than words, and the courtroom responds accordingly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.